Almost 2 weeks ago, we launched our game and it went alright, but there was one thing that really hurt me about the launch that I was completely unprepared for. My game got pirated. And not just that, a pre-release version of our game, which we only had for like internal testing and such, got pirated, which blows my mind, and I was so unprepared for it. There's plenty of YouTubers and indie devs on the internet who do talk about, my game was a complete failure. At launch I sold like 3 copies, and that's something that, I was prepared for. If we sold 5 copies, well, then our marketing sucked and that was on us. But I wasn't prepared for like the seedy dark underworld that indie development has as well. So after I found out that our game, a pre-release version, got pirated, I went slightly crazy. I dove into this whole rabbit hole of like the underground key economy, how do curators work, how does like the piracy and all of the scams work, and I have learned a lot, and I think that you guys should be prepared for this because it sucks. I will tell you that. I was truly 2 days, nobody could talk to me after I found out. At first I was planning on recording this video right when I found out, but I was like, no, you're too dramatic, take a break and do some more research and make it a structured video. So that's the point of this video. I want to talk to you indie developers out there, and maybe if someone else is also just watching this, talk a bit more about how the whole system works of people trying to get developers their keys, to get copies of their games and all of that. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to stick around. Now, what do I mean when I say the underground key economy? You've probably heard about sites like G2A, or I think Kingwin is another one, where if you don't want to pay full price for a game, you can just go and buy a key from there. And it's a marketplace where individual people can put up keys for sale, really, and you can get a whole bunch of game theirs for between 20 to 90% discount rates almost. And I have known about those sites for a long time, but there was one thing I never understood, and that was that a lot of people were like, oh, G2A and sites like these are really bad because they're using stolen keys. And it's gray market, and your key could be deactivated at any moment. And I never really understood that, because how do you steal a key? I thought that the only way to get keys was oh, I log into my Steam dashboard and I request a whole bunch of keys. But now that I am a game developer years later and I actually have to deal with this stuff, I understand now, and I want to tell to you guys as well how it works a bit. So the keys, they don't log into your Steam dashboard. It's usually not stolen like that, but there's this whole organized network basically that is out there to get your keys. Now, how do they get your keys? Well, there's a few ways. And the first one is the blatant scammers, is how I call them. These started reaching out to us probably 2-3 months before release. We started getting emails from people that are like, oh, I'm this YouTuber, I have 50,000 subscribers, I love your game, it looks really interesting, can you send me a few keys so I can play it with my friends and make a YouTube video about it? First of all, our game has no multiplayer. So that's already what do you mean you want to play with your friends? And then the big obvious red flag is you open their YouTube channel and it's we've had guys who are, or the supposed YouTube channel they run is a Indonesian Fortnite YouTuber who has only uploaded Fortnite videos for the past 5 years, and suddenly they were gonna play Forge Industry, some indie automation game. Yeah, no way. And I just trashed those. Or some other ones are channels that have been long dead, haven't uploaded in 5 years, and they also are supposedly going to play your game. Yeah, no shot. Then some of the channels, yeah, they seem legit, but then if you actually go to the about section and look at the business contact email and you compare the address that sent you the email versus the legit one that is on the YouTube channel, usually it's completely different. Or it sounds a bit similar, it's the channel name @gmail.com, whereas the official one has hello at the channel has the domain or something like that. And you'll get tons of these emails. At some point you'll be like, man, why do I get these? We get them every day basically. At this point, I've just set up some Outlook rules so they don't even really come into my inbox anymore, because it's very annoying simply. And what these people prey on is, indies who are desperate for marketing. I mean, we are desperate for marketing. If some YouTuber sends us an email and it's hey, I have 15,000 subscribers, I want to play your game, then you're like, oh, amazing, someone is gonna showcase my game to the world and it's probably gonna give me a whole bunch of wish lists and like interesting feedback. And you sometimes can get blinded by that like happiness of, oh, this is gonna be the breakthrough, this is where I'm gonna get like my success from, that you don't really stop for a moment and realize like, is this legit or not? There's one YouTuber who reached out to us, Der Strategie Nerd, who was a German YouTuber, and it took me like, I spent like 24 hours like truly verifying, and I had sent like some back and forth emails to like confirm like the email address was right, his genre was right, but still I was very on edge, and I think that's what you should have as well. It's basically similar to like phishing. If you like, your bank sent you an email, it's like, oh, you need to pay this much money now, or all of your like bank details will like get blocked. Use the same logic there. Check the email addresses. Are there spelling mistakes? Is the email written like a 12-year-old? Do you want 12-year-olds to play your game? Probably not. That's how some people get those keys as well, because it's usually like one guy who sends like 50 of those different like account pretend emails. And then the next way, and this is truly the one that was the biggest rabbit hole for me, is through Steam Curators. So what's a Steam Curator? Because I didn't really know what it was until I got the emails. So Steam has this built-in system of like curators, which is basically reviewers. Curators can also be used, for example, for tagging games. So maybe there's a curator who says if a game is controller compatible, and then maybe how good or bad it is. But generally the ones that you'll get curators who are reviewers. And it'll go something like this is the email. It's a, hello, I'm this curator. I have over 20,000 followers. That's a very like thing you'll notice. They all have just over 20 to 25,000 followers. And I think your game looks really interesting. Can you send me a few keys? And they always ask for keys. It's a very important phrasing thing, because Steam actually has a built-in thing called Curator Connect, where you can, through like the Steamworks portal, send out like not a key, but like an entitlement to the curator, and then they can claim it on their account. So there's a difference there, but we'll get into that in a second. But they'll always ask for keys, because then they'll be like, oh, you know, Curator Connect, it expires after like 30 days. It does not. They do not expire. Pure scam. Or they make up some other excuse why they really want keys instead of your curator thing. And at first I was like, you know, you can get a curator thing, but I'm not gonna give you a key, because, you know, what are they gonna do with the curator thing? And that's where I went wrong. We sent out curator like entitlements through Steam Curator Connect before release. And I'm like 99% sure that even though we only sent like 10 of them, they're usually like pretty shady ones when I look back in hindsight. And I'm 99% sure that one of them probably just took our game files, because, you know, we don't have DRM. We're like an indie studio of 3 people, 4 people. We don't care. We don't want to deal with that. It's too much overhead. And then just put up the version for their own. Hey everyone, Marnix from the future here. I quickly wanted to hop in and explain a bit more about how did we actually find out that our game was pirated. There's actually 2 ways. The first one was our trailer was suddenly getting a whole lot of extra views like right before release. At first me and Thomas were like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter. It's probably because we're like getting ready for release and we're like being featured somewhere. But then when I dove into the stats, there was a lot of external traffic suddenly. So it wasn't YouTube views, but it was like other sites referring to the video. And if you dive then into the statistic of which sites are that, then suddenly I found out it was like some piracy sites. And then the second one is there's this tool called Ubersuggest, which is a backlink tool, which is basically, it aggregates all of the other sites that that link back to your Steam page. So it's a very easy way to see if like someone is covering your game. And suddenly there were a whole bunch of backlinks as well to all of the different piracy sites, because they also usually reference the original Steam store page in like their description. Anyway, that's it. Let's go back to the video. And once I found that like early access version pirated, I went into like how does curators work, and I found this amazing video. Well, not amazing, but it's like very interesting, of one of those curator scammers who like exposes the whole system, how he runs like 5 different like curators, and they all just buy their 20 to 25,000 curator reviews or like followers, and how he sends out the curator requests to everyone, and then how he gets the keys. But he does it not to sell them, he says. He just does it to get the number of how many Steam games he goes up, even though he has no intention of playing them. That's also already a pretty dumb part, but you know, at least there they didn't scam you that much. It's just, you know, it's a waste of one of your Curator Connect entitlements. The problem is also, you can like expire keys, like actual keys you send out, but you can't expire Curator Connects. You can expire it so that no new ones can be claimed, but ones that are already claimed, I can't block them anymore. So our game is gonna keep getting updates piracy-wise, just it needs to be done manually or like automated maybe. I don't know how it works. I'm not condoning like, oh, go and pirate my game, but you know, there's no point in hiding it. If you like look up Forge Industry Crack, it's like the first thing you find, or like 5 different like repacks and things like that. And my advice would be to just don't deal with curators. Just, they have no value. Even if they would review your game, we've got like some review, but it's horrible, and I'm pretty sure it has absolutely zero impact on our marketing. I think we got one curator who was pretty okay. I don't know his name anymore, but even now, you know, my faith in the curator system is like absolutely shattered, and I think Valve should just remove it. But why would they? Because they just sit on a bunch of money anyway. Now, your game has been pirated. What do? Well, the first thing you do is just cry internally and you just hate the world. And then, you know, it takes a bit to get more reasonable, and you know, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. There's nothing on earth that like hasn't been pirated. So, you know, don't sweat it too much is what I would say. It just sucks a lot of your motivation away. Also, people on like those piracy forums, they're like worse than Redditors even. And like, don't read those comments that you see on there usually, because they're also like soul shattering sometimes. But yeah, that's truly all you can do really. You can cry and you can say it sucks, and I can make this video to like warn you about it, but I was more about the pre-release one. But our game is gonna get pirated regardless. It's gonna happen. That's simply the way the world works, and you know, deal with it. Now, I also just want to give a little rant, because you know, piracy is like, oh, I don't want to go through the hassle of like, you know, the Steam refund system where I play the game, but then maybe it's not fun, so I refund it. It's like, we have a demo. The demo is longer than 2 hours if you want. Why are you pirating the game if you can just play the demo? Whatever, rant over. If you like automation games and you want to support us, go over, link down below as well to our Steam page, and grab up a copy of yourself. We're still actively pushing updates to our game, making it better from the feedback of the people who have actually bought it. So yeah, that's basically my main point. What I want you to take away is that don't engage with curators at all, ideally, and don't get blinded by anyone who's reaching out to you who says they have a following and they want to play your game, even though maybe their channel completely doesn't match what you're doing, or they haven't uploaded in a long time. Keep a calm head. Always verify like what's like their email address, their contact, and are they actually a good match. I know that there's also a platform such as Keymailer and Lurkin, I think, which do have some like validation. I think we didn't use them. I haven't used it. I'm like starting to look into it, but I feel like there's still a bit of a problem there, although I know Keymailer does try to truly force an influencer to, first of all, be validated as an actual YouTuber, and also to make a video if they do claim a key, but no experience there. So I hope this has taught you a bit more about the not so fun side of indie development. Anyways, if you're new here, we're a game development studio. We made our own game and we're working on other games as well. And we make these videos 2 times a week where we talk about game development, our experiences, such as now. We do some tutorials, we talk about game design, we go vlog when we go to events and things like that. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below, and also maybe leave us a like. It's a win-win for both of us because you get this cool content. That's all I really had to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!